We're diving deeper into how you as a user can get the most out of SharePoint Sites, whether it's a team site for collaboration or a communication site for sharing news and resources. My name is Allison Gonzalez. I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer, and we're gonna dive right on in to SharePoint. If this is your first visit to our SharePoint series, welcome. I will have the other videos in the SharePoint series linked below for you to check out after this one. So we're gonna look at some really powerful features, including document libraries, pages, web parts, and how to customize your site's layout to better meet your team's needs. First up, we are gonna revisit document libraries. This is an essential part of team sites, but instead of just uploading and sharing files, let's look at some more advanced options that can help you organize and collaborate more effectively. So I'm on a Teams site here that I previously created in our Introduction to SharePoint video, and I'm gonna navigate over to my document library. So in document libraries, you can create custom views to help you and your team find what you need quickly. For example, I could filter on the file type, right? Do I want to see Excel files versus PowerPoints? I can also filter it on, right, who last edited the item. Maybe it's me. Maybe I want to find the thing that I last edited. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm here in my document library. I'm going to click on my document dropdown. Now, depending on how big your screen is, right, sometimes you'll see these elements get compacted in different ways, just depending on how wide, right, your screen is and how many items can fit on there. So I can see when I click on all documents, right at the bottom section, I have this: create a new view, save view as, and then edit current view. We can also format our current view and even add or remove fields. So we got lots of the options that we're looking for right here. So let's go ahead and click on create new view. We can call this one, let's call it last modified. Nice and simple. And I can decide, how do I want to show the data? Do I want to show it as a list, a calendar view, or as a gallery? So we get some options for this view style. So we can decide, how do we not only want to like sort the data, but see the data. I'm going to keep it with list. You can also decide if this is a private or a public view. And I'm going to leave that as public. Let's go ahead and create. Now, my preferred place to modified views that really gets you the most amount of modifications all at once is to go over and in your view, under last modified, go to edit current view. When we do this, it will take us to a new page, and we got a lot of options over here to determine what we want to see. Now I can choose exactly which columns I want to see in this view, as well as the order, right, left to right, that these columns are going to be in. So if I want to add in, right now I only have type, name, modified, and modified by, but let's say I also want to add in a created by field. Well, then my created by field, right, I don't want that to be 15, that should be 4, right? That should be up here right next to those. We can also choose our sort order, and we can have multiple sorts. So I can first sort off of one column. So let's say I have the type, and I can sort off of the type and a lot of other things like the label settings, the like count, modified, all of those informations, right? I can sort off of that first, show those items in ascending or descending order, and then I can sort off a second column. So if I want to sort first and find all of the Excel files together, then inside of that, I want to sort off of who it was modified by. So then I can choose modified by as my next field. And so then that way, again, I can go ascending, descending order. So you can set up your structure exactly for this view the way you want to see it. And then we can also apply filters. So with the filters, I can either show all items in the view or only show items when the following is true. So we have a bit of logic to work through. So I can show the items when the column, for instance, is, let's say created by is equal to Allison, right? And I could set this up so that way I only see the items. I filtered the items to only show ones that I have created, right? So you can really modify this logic, play around with this to get this view as specialized as you need it to be. We also have a lot of sections that are kind of folded up here, and you can get into these, whether you want to allow individual item checkboxes in group by, right? We can do this group by actions. We can also get into totals with our data and into our style. So basic table, document details, newsletter, shaded preview pane, and even folders, right? Do I want to show items inside folders or show all items without the folders? You get to decide, right? This structure that works best for this view that you are creating. If we want to, we can put a number of items to display if we want to limit that at all. And then we can even decide on mobile, how do we want this to appear? Now don't forget, at the end, after setting everything, make sure you hit OK for those changes to take effect. And then it will bring that back. And here's that extra column that I added in, that modified column. And that's all a part of my last modified view. Custom views are a real game changer when you're working with a large library of documents. You can even share these views with your team to help streamline collaboration. Another fantastic feature is pages. Pages let you create a central space where your team can access news, announcements, and important information all in one place. Let's go take a look at some pages. So on our team site, I can go to pages in my left navigation. Generally, your navigation is going to be in the left. Occasionally, some sites will have top navigation. And here, I am able to create new pages. Now look, we have a variety of page type styles to use. I'm going to go with a web part page. I can name my new page. Let's call this one Cool Content. And we get to pick a template to help us start off so we don't have to add every single web part. They're already some of them are in place for us. So I can go with a header, a footer, 3 columns, and I have a little illustration to the left of what that looks like. Whether it is a full page header with a left column, right column, you can click through these template options to see which style works the best. Which one do you think you want to go with? I'm going to go with this left column, header, footer, top row, 3 columns. We'll get all of the options in here. And I'm going to go with create. Now here we go. We have a bit of a top ribbon kind of builder experience, right? That top ribbon is present in pretty much every Microsoft program, right? From Word to Excel to PowerPoint to Power BI, we have this top ribbon, Microsoft's very much signature. Here's all of your options right here at the top. So I can go through and I can see in here, I'm in that edit mode right now, but I can stop editing. I have my versions, permissions to look through. I can get alerts set for all of this information. Now in my settings here, right, I'm able to click on each of these, right? I have this template structure. I can click on each section to decide which elements I want to bring over. So for my left column, it says add a web part. And I can see the different elements that I can bring over, whether that is documents, events, form templates, site assets, pages, and that's just in the app category. I can work my way through the rest of these as well. Let's just say we're going to bring over documents and hit add. Now in that left column, I have a document library right there on the left side. You have plenty of room to move it down. Now in my header, when I go to add a web part, again, I don't want to add documents back in, right? We can navigate through and see the other elements that we can add in. So no, you can just go through, build out the site to look exactly how we need. Let's say I want events to go in that header section. Give that a section to load in, right? And then you can click through to each web part to put in the elements that you want to have in this page. Once you have added all of the elements that you are looking for, you can go to stop editing. And then it will take you to the page you created. Now I only added 2 web parts, so the sections I did not add web elements to are blank. So right, if you get into it, you have, you pick one where you're like, I like most of this, right? Just don't fill in the fields that you don't like, and you can have, right, only the ones that have the web elements added will be what you need for that page. Let's take a look at adding a different type of page. Let's add a site page. So now with our site page, we have a little bit more of the modern interface now available to us. So adding in the site page, we can see right now I have access to those web parts, but we've modernized, right? We see this newer interface. It's a little bit more drag and drop. So I can see right here on my page, I can add a title. We are also able to add in all of the additional other elements. So let's say I want to go in, add an image. We add into a section. I can go over to stock images. So many options, right? We can filter these down to just different sections. And then let's choose this cloud one and insert. And we'll add that in. Now we can modify this as well. In this top nav, right? I can edit the properties of the image. I can link the image, so it's kind of like the image serves as a button. I can add text over that image at the bottom if I would like. We get a max of 48 characters there. And don't forget that accessibility. Make sure you are adding in alt text, right? For anyone using a screen reader, describe what is in your picture. Right? Snow in the clouds, snow on water with cloud reflection, right? Make sure that that is an element. And you can also mark as decorative. So that way, if, right, it's a background feature so that the screen reader is not going over and talking about that element. You see, turning that on, turning that off opens that up. You're also able to resize your image, right? Maybe that is gigantic and I want it to be a lot smaller. I'm able to do that right up in this top options. I can also go with my alignment. So if I want that to be left instead of centered, I can do that as well. And then you continue again in this fashion to build out your sites, right? You use your right side navigation. We have a toolbox here that contains all of our web parts and images and section templates. We have our properties for whatever element we have selected, and then we can easily modify or change that depending on, again, which element we have selected. And then we even get some design ideas down here depending on what we are doing. So overall, again, depending on which site you're trying to build, for some, right, if they've created SharePoint sites for a while, that older style may work better for them because they understand where everything else. But if you are new to creating sites, that second option, this one that we're on right now, is definitely the generally user-friendly and definitely a little bit easier to navigate through for you to utilize building out these site pages. Pages are really versatile and they can help you present key information in a very organized way that's easy for everyone to access and also really easy for you to modify, add, change as needed. So while team sites are great for collaboration, communication sites are all about sharing information broadly with a larger audience. So for example, you can use them for company-wide news or even department updates. Really something where it's at one direction of information versus team sites where that is that collaboration and that information moving back and forth. So when we click on our new dropdown in our top navigation, I can go and have a new document library, pages, spaces, or what we're gonna do, a news post. So for your news post, you can again pick from a template, right? Microsoft is big with giving you a starting point so you do not have to create every element all on your own. So let's go ahead and decide what we want. This is right, I made the site for events, so I'm gonna do a new event. And so I can make an announcement, right? Make this really easy to find. So we can see here's what that template would look like, where we can put in all of our details, resources, and elements. And depending on the template you choose, right, you have different sections. So again, choose the template that closest aligns to what you are looking to create. And that way it will give you the least amount of modifications necessary. So if I choose event, I'm gonna go ahead and create post. You can also create as a private draft. That way, if you are looking to keep this, private for a little bit, make some modifications, make sure you have all the details that you need, you just wanna get a jump on building it, you can set that as a private draft first. Let's go ahead and create post. And we have that same experience that we had with our modern site build, where we have that toolbox with our web parts. We can see the sections on the page and easily modify them. So we can modify any of the text on the screen. I can add a title, new cool event happening soon. We can also modify all of this content. Obviously you would, because this is fake content. So we would want to put in the content that we are looking to see in here. We can see all of the different sections, how those are spaced out. Again, depending on your screen size that you're viewing this on, it would be responsive. If I want to change out that image or resize that, right? Maybe it's too gigantic and I'm gonna make that a little bit smaller. We could do that, change our alignment again and modify that as needed. But we can see dates, times, and add all of these extra web part elements in here. And I can go to see all web parts to see all of the different things, right? Even if I want to bring a YouTube video in, put in kind of spacers so I don't have, content overlapping each other, buttons, people, quick links, all of that great stuff. I've got a ton of options here in my web parts to bring this over and really customize this. So now when your post is complete, you can go ahead, of course at the top you can save and close if you want to come back and make modifications later. But when you're done for this one, we can post, and then I can also send as an email. And so this will post our news post to our SharePoint site. But then I also get the ability to send this news post as an email. Now you don't have to do this if you're not looking to also send an email, right? You can go ahead and skip, but you would be able to send this out to anyone, and they have that right there inside. So it's a nice double purpose. People aren't always going over to the SharePoint site, might not catch it. If you want to if it's something important, send it also as an email. We're gonna go ahead and skip. And there we go, my page, with my event is looking fantastic. If I navigate back to the home page of my event site, I should see right over here in my activity, again, depends on your communication site template. Generally though, you will have an activity or a post area on that homepage. I can see right here that post that I just put up. Using communication sites and news posts like this one really help to keep everyone informed and ensure that the most important updates don't get lost in email chains, right? If I only sent this as an email, well, I know not everyone is going to see this. Having it in both places, posted on a communication site whose goal is, showcase this information. Maybe a lot of organizations have communication sites set up as their browser homepage. So that's the first thing you see. You click on a browser, open the internet, your communication site is right there. Your post front and center, easily visible for everyone that needs to see that information. So this was a quick look at some of the more advanced features available to users in SharePoint site. By customizing document libraries, creating pages, adding web parts, and leveraging communication sites, you can take your SharePoint experience to the next level. Now, I have a whole series on SharePoint here on our Pragmatic Works YouTube channel. I'll have those linked below. I also have a class on SharePoint on our on-demand learning platform, so you can dive in a lot deeper on all of these SharePoint concepts and more. Now let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite SharePoint feature for collaborating with your team? Put it in the comments, and I love to see what everyone has, and then, see what other people are utilizing, because those might be good ones for you and your team to use as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, so that way you will see all of these videos on SharePoint, as well as everything about Microsoft as it comes out.